What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Monday, December 11th, 2023, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 2:41 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some unusual activity by U.S. nuclear forces. There's currently 6 nuclear war command and control planes up in the air over the United States right now. These are the Boeing E-6B Mercury TACAMO planes. These planes are responsible for remotely launching all of our Minuteman III ICBMs should ground-based command and control get wiped out during a nuclear war. And they're also responsible for communicating with our nuclear-armed submarines should ground-based transmitter sites get wiped out in a nuclear war. So these planes are critical. If the president were to order a nuclear weapons launch, these planes would transmit that order to our submarines, okay? And if the ground-based launch control centers were to get wiped out by enemy nukes, we could still launch our missiles with these planes. So let me show you where these planes are right now. We have one off the coast of Oregon, and it went out into the Pacific, and probably because it's out in the ocean, the flight tracker's not picking it up. But it took off from Travis Air Force Base, which is their West Coast home base. And we have another one currently flying over Arizona, and it was off the coast of California earlier. We have a third one currently over Nebraska, and it's been doing these square-shaped flight paths around Offutt Air Base, which is home of Stratcom. Very, very strange. And then we have a fourth one over the Ozarks right now in southern Missouri. We have a fifth one over eastern Oklahoma. And we have a sixth one just off the coast of the Everglades in Florida. Okay, so 6 nuclear war command and control planes in the air right now. In addition to this, we currently have a B-52 nuclear bomber in the air that just got aerially refueled by a KC-135 Stratotanker, and we also have 2 nuke sniffers in the air. Okay, one is flying over Illinois, and one is flying over eastern Nebraska. Okay, so 6 nuclear war command and control planes, 2 nuke sniffer planes, 1 B-52 nuclear bomber that got aerially refueled. This is extremely unusual, guys. Okay, I cannot stress to you how strange this is. This is definitely a sign that our nuclear forces are on high alert. And I've been warning you guys for the past week that our nuclear forces are on high alert. A few days ago, we had 4 B-52s in the air at the same time, and we also had 4 or 5 nuclear war command and control planes in the air at the same time as the B-52s. Okay, so this is very, very concerning. I think the last time I saw this many nuclear war command and control planes in the air was in August. And literally just a month later, we had the situation between Hamas and Israel start, okay, when Hamas attacked Israel. So I don't know what the next big event is going to be. Is it going to be Venezuela attacking our oil platforms or going into Guyana? Is it going to be North Korea attacking South Korea? Is it going to be Israel going after Hezbollah now? Is there going to be some kind of preemptive strike by the U.S. and NATO and Israel against Yemen or the Iranian militias in Iraq that have been striking our bases? Okay, there's been probably 100 attacks on our bases so far, and they hit our embassy just a few days ago with several rockets, okay? And they're attacking ships in the Red Sea, okay? They're trying to blockade the Israeli Red Sea ports. The Yemen military said that they're not going to allow any ship to go to Israeli ports in the Red Sea. Okay, any ship from any country is not going to be allowed to go to or from Israeli ports in the Red Sea. All right, so things are really heating up, guys. Okay, so I wanted to just share this with you. This is very concerning. Here we have a close up shot of the B 52 getting aerially refueled by the KC 135. And you can see that now they split up, and one of them is going south, one of them is going east. And I want to show you guys some unusual activity over Iraq last night. We had 3 aerial refuelers and 2 airborne command posts airborne over northern Iraq. We had 2 Bombardier E-11A planes flying over northern Iraq and 3 aerial refuelers. So I haven't seen that since this war in Gaza started. I haven't seen this many aerial refuelers and airborne command posts in Iraq. So this tells me that the U.S. is planning some kind of a retaliatory strike on the Iranian militias in Iraq. And that's why they have the airborne command posts up in the air and the aerial refuelers. So don't be surprised if we see some kind of big retaliation against these militias. Here's a close-up shot. You can see the 2 KC-135s, a KC-2 Voyager. A little bit hard to see, but it kind of came around the Syria border here and then started going south. And then we had the Bombardier E-11, all in the same area in northern Iraq. Okay, last night, here's another shot. You can see the KC-2 over here with the call sign Vader 39. So something's about to go down. I'm not sure what it is, but U.S. nuclear forces are on high alert this afternoon. 6 nuclear war command and control planes, 2 nuke sniffers, and a B-52 all in the air at the same time. I cannot stress to you how unusual this is. And last night we had the Sikorsky Seahawk helicopter again flying around the Dwight Eisenhower aircraft carrier in the Persian Gulf. And what's interesting is that it was positioned more to the north, closer to Kuwait and Iraq than the previous night. So this tells me that the Dwight Eisenhower is making its way towards Kuwait and Iraq, okay, because last night and the night before, it was more to the southeast, going towards the Strait of Hormuz. It was a little further to the southeast, maybe 50 to 100 miles. So this tells me that our aircraft carrier strike group is trying to get into position to strike Iraq. Okay, they're trying to get that aircraft carrier closer to Iraq so the fighter jets don't have to fly as far and they can conserve fuel. That's what I think. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, but there's really no other reason for them to be moving closer to Iraq. It doesn't make any sense. And I want to just share some other breaking news from around the world. Apparently, Russia is rebuilding its forces and capabilities and preparing for a potential confrontation with NATO, said Lieutenant General Jurgen Joachim von Sandrart, the NATO Multinational Corps commander, on December the 5th. So the NATO Multinational Corps commander said just a few days ago that Russia is preparing for a confrontation with NATO. And just in the last few days, last 2 or 3 weeks or so, we've seen a lot of high-profile military figures in Europe warning about a showdown with Russia in Europe. Okay, we had the head of Poland's National Security Council warn that Europe needs to be prepared for a war with Russia within 3 years. And yesterday, I reported that one of the generals in the German military said that NATO needs to be prepared for a defensive war against Russia very soon. So a lot of these high-profile military figures in NATO and Europe are warning about something happening. So get prepared, guys. Okay, these people have access to intelligence that we don't have. Okay, they're flying reconnaissance planes 24/7 over Eastern Europe, over Poland, over the Baltic countries, over Finland. Okay, they're flying those reconnaissance flights constantly, and so they know what's going on. They can see if there's any changes and any buildup, and they're not going to tell us about it until it's too late because they don't want any panic. All right. Just like with the Ukraine war. Okay. They were tracking the Russian forces building up on the border of Ukraine for months, and they didn't tell anybody about it until 2 weeks before the invasion. Okay. If it wasn't for social media, we wouldn't have known that, Russia was about to invade Ukraine. I was one of the first people sharing the footage coming out of train stations across Russia with, just hundreds of tanks on these trains going towards the Ukrainian border. Okay, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have known until the invasion actually started. But I was able to warn you guys 2 months before the war started. Okay, and I'm warning you now, something is about to go down. I expect something big. Okay, I expect another war front to open up, possibly several war fronts. Okay, South America, Guyana, Venezuela, Asia, maybe something between the Philippines and China, or North and South Korea, something in the Middle East. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, they have brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you have to use the link preparewithnyprepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. And this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life, and it's all contained within 6 rugged, watertight buckets. So it doesn't take up a lot of space. Pretty much anyone can find the space in their home to fit 6 buckets, and it'll cover you for 3 months. And it's a variety of food, lunches, breakfasts, dinners, drinks, snacks, free shipping included, 25% off their normal price. Use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get the discount. They also have a 2-week emergency food supply, which is excellent for outdoorsmen or people who go vehicle camping. You don't have to worry about rotating anything. You don't have to worry about your preps going bad. Just store this stuff in a temperature stable location, not too cold, not too hot, stable throughout the year, and it will last 25 years. They also have a general store. If you click the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com, it'll take you to their general store where they have everything you can imagine, from potassium iodide to water filters, solar generators, solar panels, survival seeds, fire starters, anything you can imagine, it's all there. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month freeze-dried food supply. And the link is in the description below this video. Israel is going to purchase 14,000 tank shells for their main battle tank, and Biden used his emergency powers to approve that sale last Friday, okay, just this past Friday, before the Christmas break for Congress, because he wanted Israel to get those tank shells before Congress goes out on break, which would delay a vote on that sale for probably 1 to 2 months or more. And so what's the urgency here that Israel suddenly needs 14,000 tank shells? Okay, I think I know. I think they're going to go into Lebanon. Okay, we've already heard Netanyahu and the Israeli defense minister warn Hezbollah and Lebanon multiple times, telling them, to go back away from the Israeli border or we're going to have to go in. They just issued an ultimatum to Lebanon, apparently 48 hours to push the Hezbollah forces away from the border, or else they're going to go in and do it. Okay. So things are escalating, guys. Okay. I expect massive escalations in the new year, January, February. I expect massive escalations. I think Russia is going to make another go at Ukraine. They're going to try to maybe push further into Ukraine now that Ukraine has lost a lot of support. And the Republicans and Democrats here in the U.S. are fighting over this aid package. Okay, Russia's going to capitalize on that. Okay, they're going to use that window of opportunity. And Russia has been replenishing their missile stocks so they can attack Ukraine this coming winter. And they've been saving up their missiles and trying to replenish themselves for another big push. Okay, so we have that to worry about as well. Apparently, Russia has started replenishing their strategic missile stocks, which serves as carriers for nuclear weapons, according to Yuri Ikhnat, the Ukrainian Air Force's spokesman. And Russia is going to try to capture the village of Sinovka in the Kharkiv Oblast, hoping to pave the way for a blockade of Kupiansk. This was stated by the commander of the Ukrainian land forces, Oleksandr Syrsky. Syrsky is the Ukrainian general he was the architect of the big counterattacks in Kharkiv and Kupiansk, and also in Kherson. Okay, he was the architect of those, and now he's warning that Russia may try to go and take some of that land back. Okay, and we're hearing rumors that the Russian military is going to try to make a big push towards Kharkiv and Kupiansk and Avdiivka before Putin's reelection, okay, to make Putin look better. And Sweden has provided 120 million euros of winter aid to Ukraine. This was reported by the Swedish Prime Minister. And this aid includes help for the civilian population, things like heat, electricity, and food. No military items there, but it's good that they're getting some aid for the winter. Apparently, a possible coup d'etat could be underway in Ukraine, according to some pro-Russian Telegram channels. Apparently, they have some sources in Zelensky's office that leaked out information that Zaluzhny, the general of the Ukrainian military, might take over from Zelensky. We'll have to wait and see what happens. This is all just rumor right now, so take it with a big grain of salt. Dmitry Medvedev, former president of Russia and now chairman of the Russian Security Council, said that the West has essentially entered into a military conflict with Russia. And earlier today, a massive missile attack was carried out against the U.S. military base in eastern Syria at the Al Omar oil field. So another attack on a U.S. base today. And Shahram Irani, the commander of the Iranian Navy, issued a chilling threat to the U.S. Navy, saying, "Soon we will push the American aircraft carrier Dwight Eisenhower out of the Persian Gulf." Wow. Okay, the commander of the Iranian Navy saying they're going to push the Dwight Eisenhower out of the Persian Gulf. That is insane, guys. Absolutely insane. And what you're looking at here is some strange footage that was released on social media showing some kind of bright red object in the sky over Chile. I'm not sure what this is. Some people are saying this is like a harbinger of the apocalypse or some kind of sign that something crazy is about to happen in the world. The other day, I reported those strange clouds over Morocco, and a lot of people were saying that that's potentially an indication that something bad is about to happen because those clouds appeared in Turkey right before Turkey had their big earthquakes. So I don't know what this is, but very unusual. Okay, this red object. And apparently, the U.S. is planning to create a naval task force to deal with the threats from Yemen. And it's going to be called the Naval Task Force 153, and it's going to include forces from the following countries: Bahrain, Brazil, Denmark, Japan, Jordan, Kuwait, Pakistan, the Philippines, New Zealand, South Korea, Singapore, Thailand, Turkey, the UK, and the US. Okay, so big task force being created to keep that critical strait open, okay, that connects the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden and then eventually the Indian Ocean. All right. A lot of ships pass through there, a lot of commerce there. Okay. And Yemen is trying to close that down. Apparently, Israel's third busiest port is now empty. This is in Eilat. This is one of the ports that Israel has on the Red Sea. Apparently, because of the Houthi threats, they've lost a large amount of profits and the port is now empty. Okay. So Israel warned the U.S., if you don't do something about it, we're going to go in and do something, because they're basically blockading us. And Israel has the capability to do it. They have fighter jets, they have missiles. They could easily destroy a good amount of the weapons and infrastructure that Yemen is using. And the Israeli Defense Forces are saying that Hamas has zero control over some areas of Gaza, and orders to field operatives are not being implemented. And the Hamas police are no longer active in northern Gaza, and they're expecting Hamas to lose complete control in southern Gaza within 2 weeks. Okay? So the question is, once Israel's done with southern Gaza, what are they going to do next? Are they going to go for Hezbollah? Are they going to go for Yemen? I think they're going to go for Hezbollah next. And the Israeli Defense Forces are saying that they struck over 200 targets in Lebanon since the start of the war. And the targets were military posts, surveillance gear, launch sites, weapons depots, and over 100 Hezbollah terrorists were killed in these strikes. Okay, so a lot of strikes going on. And this morning, 8 rockets were fired from Lebanon into northern Israel. 6 of them were intercepted and 2 hit open areas. And the UNIFIL informed Hezbollah at the beginning of last week that Israel is considering everything that moves on the border with Lebanon to a depth of up to 3 kilometers a legitimate target for its forces. And UNIFIL is the UN peacekeeping force in southern Lebanon. So they basically told Hezbollah, if you stay within 3 kilometers of the Israeli border, you're going to get hit. Okay. Israel's going to target you. And Germany's foreign minister is calling for the Israeli military to reduce civilian casualties. We had another strange house explosion. This time it was in upstate New York yesterday. Authorities on Sunday were investigating a house explosion in upstate New York that left one person dead. The Otsego County Sheriff's Department said dispatchers received several 911 calls about a home explosion in Oneonta around 5:30 p.m. on Saturday. The Oneonta Fire Department responded to the calls and found an active fire and multiple homes severely damaged. A state of emergency was put into effect, and residents were advised to avoid the area. After the flames were extinguished, authorities found a resident of one of the homes dead. Another resident in a neighboring home sustained minor injuries during the explosion and received medical attention, the sheriff's department said. Wow, guys, so it's pretty strange, okay? Another house explosion. We had one just over a week ago in Virginia, just a few miles away from the Pentagon. Very strange. Taiwan's armed forces have detected the Chinese Navy aircraft carrier fleet heading south along the Taiwan Strait, and they're steering along the west side of the median line of the Taiwan Strait. This is the Shandong aircraft carrier fleet. Okay, so very provocative. And China's really been stepping up their aggression in the Asia Pacific region. They've deployed over 100 ships to the Philippines to blockade the islands in the Philippines that they say are theirs. And the Philippines has fishing operations in these islands and in these shoals. And China's been blockading those islands and shoals and saying that it's Chinese territory. Okay, so they sent like 100 ships, and just the other day they had their Coast Guard out there and they were ramming the Philippine fishing vessels and using water cannons. It's just absolutely insane. And the Taipei Times reports that a Taiwanese Chinook pilot was offered $15 million by China to defect to China with his helicopter. And the plan was to land the Chinook helicopter on a Chinese aircraft carrier in the Taiwan Strait. That is absolutely insane. Kind of reminds me of the Cold War when that Russian or Soviet pilot flew out of the Soviet Union. He was a defector and he flew his plane just straight out of the Soviet Union and landed in the U.S. and defected. Uh, a Russian plane with passengers and radioactive cargo made an emergency landing in Moscow today. Initial reports indicate that a landing gear failure occurred on a plane flying from Khanty-Mansiysk in western Siberia to Moscow. Okay, so landing gear failure. I want to just show you guys some new UFO footage I just saw. I don't know how new this is or if I just saw this for myself and it's not actually new. So, in other words, it's new to me, but it's not new in general. But here you can see this orb fly in between an F-35 and a KC-10 aerial refueler. This was somewhere off the coast of Los Angeles, okay? So look very closely by the larger plane here. The larger plane is the KC-10, and then there's a smaller plane here, the F-35, and you'll see this round object. There it is right there, okay, fly by the larger plane or right in between them. Okay, let me go back so you can see again. Check that out. That's insane, guys. Look at that. It's just like a little like basketball, basically. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's pretty small, but it looks like a little basketball or something. And this is pretty common with the UFO sightings that have been reported by the government and fighter pilots. It's just these round balls in the middle of the air that can cover vast distances in a short amount of time. You can see how quickly it just zipped past these two planes, an F-35, okay, which, you know, they fly hundreds of miles an hour, these planes, and it just moved by them like they were standing still. I mean, this is crazy, guys. Look at that. So that's the latest breaking news that I have, guys. U.S. nuclear forces are on high alert. I'm going to continue to monitor the situation, and I will be back later on tonight with another update. I might go live depending on what happens. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell icon below so you get notified when I post these updates. And other than that, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.